There was a girl in row 7 who could see what 3,500 people couldn't. Bob Marley was dying, right there on stage, giving everything he had left, and nobody knew. Nobody except her. Her name was Sarah Mitchell. She was 16 years old, and in 44 years, she would finally understand why Bob Marley walked off that stage and gave her the one thing he treasured most. But first, you need to know what she saw that night, what everyone else missed, and why a dying legend chose a stranger to carry his final secret. If you love discovering the untold stories behind music history's most incredible moments, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell because we uncover the hidden gems that shaped the legends we know today. September 23, 1980, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Stanley Theater. Sarah's mother was a nurse at Pittsburgh General Hospital. For the past year, she'd been teaching Sarah the basics of medical observation. How to read symptoms in body language. How to spot when someone was hiding pain behind a smile. How to see what the patient wasn't saying. Medicine isn't just about knowing diseases, her mother always said during their late-night talks in the kitchen. It's about seeing the person behind the symptoms, the fear they won't admit, the pain they try to hide. Sarah thought it was boring. She wanted to be a music journalist, not a nurse. She wanted to write about Bob Marley, not diagnose patients. But that training, that unwanted gift from her mother, was about to reveal something impossible. Something that would change her life forever. The doors opened at 7. Sarah pushed through the crowd, her small frame allowing her to slip between bodies until she reached close to the front. Not quite front row, but close enough. Close enough to see everything. Close enough to notice details that others might miss. By 8 o'clock, the Stanley Theater was packed. 3,500 people, wall to wall. The air was thick with anticipation, with smoke, with the kind of electric energy that only happens when you're about to witness something extraordinary. People were laughing, hugging, sharing joints, united in their love for the man they were about to see. But even in that joy, Sarah felt something off. A tension she couldn't name. A whisper in her gut that something wasn't right. At 8:30, the lights went down. Bob Marley walked onto that stage. Sarah's breath caught. There he was, the man whose music had carried her through her father's death 2 years ago. But as Bob picked up his guitar, as the opening chords of Natural Mystic filled the theater, Sarah saw something that made her stomach drop. Something that cut through the joy like a knife. The way he moved, too careful, too measured. Like every step required conscious thought, conscious effort. Not the fluid movement of a healthy performer, but the calculated movements of someone managing pain, his face drawn, gaunt even, shadows under his eyes that stage makeup couldn't quite hide. The hollowness in his cheeks that hadn't been there in photos from just months ago. His hands. A slight but unmistakable tremor as he gripped the microphone. The way his fingers seemed to grip harder than necessary, like he was afraid he might drop it if he let go. Sarah had seen these signs before. In her mother's cancer patients at the hospital. In her grandfather, in those final months before he died. The body trying to hide what the spirit wouldn't admit. Bob Marley was sick, not flu sick, not tired sick, dying sick. The concert continued. Bob's voice was strong, his presence commanding. To everyone else, he was Bob Marley at the height of his power. But Sarah saw the moments between songs when his smile dropped. The way he gripped the mic stand like it was holding him up. By the time Bob performed Redemption Song, Sarah was crying. Not from joy, Not from the beauty of the music, though it was beautiful. From heartbreak, from the terrible knowledge of what she was witnessing. Bob sat on a stool center stage, his acoustic guitar cradled in his lap like a child. The theater went completely silent. 3,500 people holding their collective breath, creating a sacred space for what came next. "Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery," Bob sang, and his voice carried every word like a prayer, like a plea, like a goodbye. None but ourselves can free our minds. Sarah watched his face as he sang, really watched, and in that moment, she saw past the performer, past the legend, to the man underneath. The man who knew his time was running out. The man who was using these final moments to deliver one last message to a world that desperately needed to hear it. Bob Marley wasn't just performing a song. He was saying goodbye, and Sarah was the only person in that entire theater who could see it. The song ended. 3 encores. Bob danced like he was trying to pack a lifetime into 90 minutes. When the concert ended, the crowd was euphoric. But Sarah stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. "Sarah." Her friend Jamie grabbed her arm. "What's wrong?" "He's sick," Sarah whispered. "Didn't you see it?" "What?" "No, he was amazing." Maybe she was crazy, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling. She had to know. "I'll meet you at the car," Sarah said. Sarah pushed through the exiting crowd, moving against the flow of bodies like a salmon swimming upstream. People looked at her strangely. Why was she going the wrong way? Didn't she know the exit was the other direction? But Sarah wasn't leaving. She couldn't leave. Not without knowing. Not without confirming what her training, what her gut, what every fiber of her being was screaming at her. The backstage area was guarded by 2 large security personnel in black t-shirts. Sarah's heart pounded. She was about to do something crazy, something that could get her arrested. But she had to try. She spotted a discarded backstage pass on the ground near a trash can. Someone must have dropped it in the chaos of the exit. Sarah grabbed it, clipped it to her shirt, and walked toward the backstage entrance with as much confidence as she could fake. "Hey!" One of the security guards stepped forward, his bulk blocking her path. "Where do you think you're going, kid?" Sarah's mouth went dry, but she remembered what her mother always said. Confidence is half of credibility. If you act like you belong somewhere, people will believe you belong there. "I'm with the medical team," Sarah said, forcing her voice to stay steady despite her hammering heart. "I need to check on Mr. Marley. Post-performance health assessment. It's standard protocol." It was a complete lie. But she delivered it with such certainty, such borrowed medical authority from watching her mother work, that the guard hesitated. His eyes flicked to the pass on her shirt, then back to her face. "Nobody told me about any medical team," he said, but his voice had lost its hard edge. He was uncertain now. "That's because we maintain discretion," Sarah said, doubling down on the bluff. "Mr. Marley requested privacy regarding his health matters, but if you want to be responsible for delaying urgent medical attention to a performer who just gave a 90-minute show..." She let the implication hang. The threat of liability. Of being the guy who prevented a sick man from getting help. The guard's face changed. "Fine, 5 minutes. That's it." Sarah walked backstage. Band members, managers, chaos everywhere. She kept moving, and then she saw him. Bob Marley sat alone in a dressing room, door half open. His head was in his hands. Before Sarah could leave, Bob looked up. Their eyes met. "You know," Bob said softly. It wasn't a question. Sarah froze. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't be here." "How did you know?" "My mother's a nurse. I saw the signs." Bob nodded. Then he smiled. "Come in. Close the door." Sarah stepped inside, closing the door. "What's your name?" Bob asked. Sarah Mitchell." "How old are you?" 16. 16. "And you saw what my own band doesn't see." Bob leaned back. "You're right, I'm dying. Cancer. It's spread everywhere." Sarah felt punched. "How long?" "The doctors say months, maybe weeks." Bob's eyes filled with tears. "My wife wanted me to cancel this tour, but I couldn't. I couldn't let my last memory be giving up." "That was your last concert," Sarah said. Bob nodded. "After tonight, no more shows." They sat in silence. "Why did you let me in?" Sarah asked. Bob smiled. "Because you saw me. Not Bob Marley, the legend. Me, the man who's terrified." He paused. "When someone truly sees you, you honor that." Bob stood, walked to his guitar in the corner, the same one from Redemption Song. "This guitar has been with me for 7 years," Bob said. "Tonight it played its last concert." He walked toward Sarah, holding the guitar. "I'm going to give it to someone who will understand, someone who sees what others miss." He held it out to Sarah. "No, I can't. That's yours. It was mine. Now it needs a new guardian. But I'm nobody. You're someone brave enough to risk everything to make sure someone was okay." Bob pressed the guitar into her hands. "You're exactly who should have this." Sarah took it, trembling. "I don't understand." Bob knelt in front of her. "One day you will. One day you'll meet someone who needs this more than you do. When that day comes, you'll know." "How will I know?" "The same way you knew about me. You'll see them." Bob stood. "Promise me you'll keep this until you find that person." Sarah nodded, crying. "Now go, before security throws you out." Sarah stood. "Will you beat it?" Bob's smile was sad. "Some battles aren't meant to be won. Some battles are just meant to be fought with courage." Sarah left, made it to her friend's car, and burst into tears. "Where did you get that guitar?" Jamie stared. "He gave it to me." Sarah sobbed. "Bob Marley gave it to me." 7 months later, Bob Marley died. He was 36 years old. Sarah kept the guitar, through college, through her career. She became a nurse, then a nurse practitioner in oncology. She waited for the moment Bob described, the moment when she'd meet someone who needed the guitar. 44 years passed. Sarah was 60, working at Pittsburgh General Hospital. One afternoon, a 17-year-old girl was admitted, terminal brain cancer. The girl's name was Maya. Sarah entered Maya's room. The girl sat in bed, earbuds in, fingers moving like she was playing invisible guitar. "What are you listening to?" Sarah asked. Maya opened her eyes. "Bob Marley. Redemption Song. It's the only thing that makes me not afraid." Sarah's breath caught. This was it. "Maya, I have something to show you." The next day, Sarah brought the guitar. She told Maya everything. Maya cried, holding it. "Why are you giving this to me?" "Because Bob told me I'd know when I met the right person. You're the one." Maya spent her final 3 weeks playing that guitar. She wrote songs, recorded them, found her voice. When Maya died, she left instructions. The guitar was to go to the teenage cancer ward. Any patient who wanted could play it. Today, that guitar is still at Pittsburgh General Hospital. Hundreds of young cancer patients have played it, found courage, discovered their voice matters. Inscribed on the back, in Bob's handwriting, are these words: "Music doesn't end when the musician dies. It lives in everyone who hears it. Pass this forward." Sarah is 70 now. She still tells the story of September 23, 1980, the night Bob Marley gave his guitar to a girl who saw what no one else could. "Bob taught me something," Sarah tells her patients. "The greatest gift we can give isn't to people we know. It's to people who need what we have, even if we never meet them." If this story moved you, subscribe and hit that like button. Have you ever received an unexpected gift that changed your life? Let us know in the comments. Because that's what Bob Marley understood. Music isn't about the notes. It's about seeing someone, really seeing them, and giving them what they need to find their voice. That's the secret of Bob Marley's final concert, not the performance, but the moment afterward, when a dying legend gave his guitar to a stranger, trusting it would reach who needed it most. And it did.